Hello and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and thank you for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I really appreciate it. So, if you saw the picture for this video, you're like, why is she mad at a can of tuna fish? Allow me to explain. Let's go into a little segment I like to call Story Time with Maria. So the other day, I was sitting here and I decided that I was hungry and I wanted something high in protein. So I thought, let me eat a can of tuna. And I went into the cabinet to get a can of tuna. And when I put my hand on the can of tuna fish, I don't know about you, but let me be real. I have these two little people, like in the cartoons and back in the days, that sit on your shoulders. And this one's dressed in white and this one's dressed in black. And this one is like, the good one. And this one is like the not so good one, the scary one, the doubtful one, the fearful one. Oh yes, I experience fear and doubt because I'm a living, breathing human, right? So anyways, I put my hand on the can of tuna fish and this girl pops out and she's like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to eat the tuna. And this one's like, no, you do. You're hungry. And it's like, no, you don't want to do that. Yes, you do, because you really need the protein and you're craving it. Don't do it. And there was something really powerful in the way that she said, that I heard, don't do it. That I had to ask. Now, mind you, I'm still standing in my kitchen with my hand on the tuna fish the whole time this is going on. And I had to ask, why? Why don't I want to eat it? I do want a can of tuna fish. Why don't I want to eat a can of tuna fish? Remember what happened last time? And just like that, I realized that the last time I opened a can of tuna fish, the lid wouldn't pop open so easily. And so as I went to pull it, I moved my finger onto the top of the lid to supply more support. And when I pulled it, because my finger was over the edge, it sliced my finger open and there was like protruding blood that was pouring into the can of tuna fish. It was kind of spraying the amount of blood. It was a nice slice. And I remember like, right? And I wrapped it up and I'm squeezing it and there was so much blood and it was throbbing like a cartoon. It felt like it was like this, like it had its own heartbeat and it was alive. And I remember it took a long time for it to heal. I probably should have got stitches, but it took a really long time. And every time I tapped it, oh my gosh, it hurt so bad. And I remember that since then, several weeks ago, months actually, I haven't eaten tuna. I like tuna. I eat it all the time. It's high in protein. It's good for the body, blah, 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 right? And I haven't eaten tuna. But here was the other part that was kind of crazy, is that I kept putting it on my grocery list and buying more. So I realized when I was having this moment of awareness that the reason why I wasn't eating the tuna fish was because I was afraid of the can. I was afraid to open it and to cut myself, but it didn't stop me from buying more tuna fish and filling my cabinet with tuna fish that I wasn't eating. Stay with me. And then I looked at the can of tuna and I thought and then said out loud, true story. I said to the can of tuna, fuck you, tuna. And I pulled out the tuna fish can. And I decided I was going to have some tuna because I was no longer going to allow the fear that what happened before may happen again to stop me from enjoying the blessings, right? How many times have I allowed something that happened to me in the past that cut me, that hurt me, that made me bleed, either metaphorically or like literally made me bleed, to prevent me from doing that thing again because I was afraid of what was going to happen? Now, if I went into this fully afraid and not learning from what happened before, I may have in fact sliced my finger again. But instead, I thought, no, I learned my lesson and now I know what's hindering me and now I'm aware of the fear. So I took a towel and I wrapped my hand because when I tried to open the tuna fish can, it got stuck again. So fear rised up in me because it was a duplicate of what had happened before. But now I'm different and I'm changed. Now I'm knowledgeable and I'm aware. So I use that to alter the future, to change the path, to create a new destiny where I get to eat tuna. I grabbed a towel, I wrapped it around my hand, I pinned down the can of tuna fish, and when I slid the lid off, it brushed against the towel. It would have cut me had I not taken the time to become aware of the new way that I needed to implement, like the steps in order to get to where I needed to be. Because what I actually learned was that the tuna fish can was tough to open, and that's not how you open it. You can't just freehand it. You have to actually do something extra to protect yourself, right? And then I'm looking at the can of tuna and I'm like, oh, it's not just the can of tuna. What is your can of tuna? What is it in your life that has stopped you, prevented you from moving forward? And then here's the thing. Like, I was going grocery shopping and every week I would buy more tuna fish, and yet I wasn't partaking. The blessings are fully available to you. The promises are fully available to you, and yet you are not partaking. What is it that's stopping you from fully partaking? Were you hurt before? Were you cut before? Did you bleed before? And if you did, because you're human and that's part of the experience, what can you learn from that? How can you grow from that so that you can go back to partaking from the blessings without letting fear stop you from moving forward? So I'm about to go have my lunch, and I'm going to eat a can of tuna because I'm not living like that anymore. Right? So that's my story. It's story time with Maria today. What's your can of tuna? What's your fear? What's the thing in your life that's stopping you? How can you learn and grow from it? How can you create parameters for yourself and healthy boundaries so that you can continue to partake from the blessing, so that you can continue to live in the promise without having to have fear hinder and stop you from doing the thing that you were called to do? I mean, there's a lot of protein in here. There's a lot of fatty acids and omega-3s. Good stuff is in this can. I just got to get in it. And now I know how without hurting myself. Without hurting myself. Forget about it. That's a whole nother thing, talking about personal responsibility. So what's your can of tuna? What's stopping you from moving forward? What fears in your life are hindering you? That's the question. And when we take the time to really become aware and to look back and say, how can I learn from this? And then take that new knowledge, that new information, that new experience, and move that into the future. What? Super sparkly everything. Super sparkly everything. All right. So if you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you know somebody who could benefit from this, share it. And subscribe to my channel so you can get one of these in your box every week. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your week and a super sparkly weekend.